Hello, everybody. Jim Feist in Las Vegas, Victor King in sunny Florida. And we were just talking about it before the show started that they've been dodging the hurricanes this year. And I seen them, you see it on TV all the time, and they're out in the ocean, but they don't seem to be hitting land. And that's a good thing.
We've been very fortunate. Here we are, October, middle of October. We're getting to the late end of October, and nothing has really hit us hard here in the Sunshine State in regards to hurricanes. Officially, the season ends around Thanksgiving, so we got another like 4, maybe 5 weeks or so. So if I could knock on wood or something, I'm going to do that. But we've been very fortunate thus far, and for us down here in South Florida, it's always a big, big win when we can evade those suckers. In the Let me see, I moved down here in 2004, so in the 20 or so years, we have gotten about 3 to 4 like really, really bad ones. The most recent one did a lot of damage to my house, trees,
Really?
swimming pool. Uh, we're we're getting over that, but we've been fortunate thus far, Jim. So thanks for asking about that.
Well, I have I know you and Mark live down there, and on the same side of the of Florida. I have another friend that lives up in the Tampa area. So when they get hit with the one that comes up through the Gulf,
For the Gulf, they've
uh,
been hit hard that side. Yep, yep.
yeah, and I mean, God, it's not unbelievable. So one side or the other, but I don't think he's gotten hit this year very much either.
Right, right.
So it's been like, where the hell are all the hurricanes?
The whole state's been very fortunate, and like you say,
Knock on wood.
it seems like the worst disturbances have been, like you say, they've been stuck over there in the Atlantic Ocean, and the east coast of the United States will get some stuff. I know last weekend in the NFL, some of the East Coast games were affected a little bit from some of the high winds and the weather, but nothing major.
What's the difference between a hurricane and a nor'easter?
Nor'easter, that's a good question, and I don't know the answer to that either.
Because that nor'easter seemed to do a lot of damage.
Yeah, it did. It really did.
Yeah, and it affected some of the games. As a matter of fact, this week we have a lot of games that are going to be affected.
And if we have time, we can do a real quick weather check. But it looks like there's a handful of games that could negatively be potentially affected by weather. Yeah.
I can wrap them up real quick. Cleveland's probably the worst.
Yeah.
Chicago's second worst. The Jets are going to get hit. Denver's going to have a little bit, but not terrible. But here's when we're looking at weather, and Seattle's going to get a little bit of stuff on Monday. But when you're looking at weather, you're looking at wind is the biggest issue. Now, if you add wind and rain, like here's a problem like New Orleans. I like New Orleans this week. However, I don't know if an indoor team can go on the road with a rookie quarterback and play in wind and rain. I don't know because I don't know that he's done that or they've done that.
I would agree with you. That's probably the right side, but only because the Bears are so unfamiliar being a substantial home favorite, right?
Right.
When was the last time they were favored by a lot of points?
Look at the line. Went from 6 to 4.5.
I got an interesting story about the Bears. You know, they come off each of their last 2 games, they won by identical scores of 25-24. They did it before the bye in Vegas against your Raiders, and they just won last Monday night, 25-24. It's only the second time in the NFL history that the same team has won consecutive games by the exact same score. There you go.
Wow. And the one in Vegas was saved by a block kick.
Right.
And the one in Chicago was in Chicago, right?
That was a last second kick. No, in Washington on the road. Yeah.
In Washington, but that was by the fumble that set it up.
Because of the late fumble, and they turned it into a game-winning field goal at the end.
Right. They just, I mean, they are playing a little bit better. I see progress. Caleb Williams is obviously better than he was under the previous administration there. Johnson's a hell of an offensive coordinator now. If he can get him under wraps, he's a talented young man. I'm talking about Williams. but there's a lot to go around. Last week we didn't do this podcast because
Right.
I was ill, and Victor was kind enough to say, Jim, we're going to skip this week, and you take your time to rest up. I appreciate that, Victor. Thank you.
Sure thing.
Now,
I'm kind of glad we didn't. It was my worst NFL weekend of the season,
oh
and
really?
it's bad enough when I go down betting my plays. I don't want to drag potential podcast viewers
Right.
down as well. So in a way, it was probably pretty good that we did pass last week. But man, I'm super glad that we are back this week. And Jim, talk about the way to start the week is with a Thursday night winner. And I think somebody over here actually swept the board yesterday. Some didn't you have the Bengals plus the points
And
and the over in last night's Thursday night game?
I actually did. Yes.
Nice start. Hey,
Thank.
it's always a great start when you win that Thursday night game. Our service, our King Creole service, we had a 3-star play on the over as well. You saw it; it turned into a classic
It
shootout.
was a great
And what
game.
about the old timers? What about the old timers? A shootout between two 40-plus-year-old quarterbacks,
You know,
33 to 31, a ton of yards. You
you
gotta
know,
love Joe Flacco. Aaron Rodgers had 4 TD passes. And the most entertaining Thursday night game of the year.
you got two Super Bowl champion quarterbacks. Now,
Mm.
granted, they're in the end of their careers, but isn't it strange to say that a 40-year-old is old? I mean, they are really good. They
They are good
really they
starting quarterbacks in a league that doesn't have a lot of them. you know,
no, not many at all. I mean, they know how to play. They know how to read defenses. They know how to make quick adjustments.
and
And then we're talking
get the
about,
ball to the playmakers. That's all you got to do.
pardon me,
They make
yeah,
the
get the
game
ball
seem
to the
easy.
playmakers. You get a kid like Caleb Williams who has all the talent in the world, but zero experience, so to speak, compared to these guys, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you just watch those guys play, I mean, see what they do and how cool they are under pressure. I
Absolutely.
mean, granted, they've been doing it forever, and I mean, that does make a big difference.
Right. Well, Jim, before we get into totals, let's do a real quick review of what happened last week, maybe a year to date,
Okay.
in regards to the totals. And there was a 2-week run there in weeks 4 and 5, in which there were both weeks averaged like 49 or more points per game. But things kind of came back down to earth last week in the NFL. The second lowest scoring week of the season, 42.3 points per game, 6 overs last week, 8 unders, 1 tie. That was probably that Washington-Chicago Monday night game. I'm counting that as a tie. But 6 and 8 over under, only 42.3. And let me see here. Only 4 teams had 400 or more offensive yards last week. So where are we right now for the season? We are at 47 overs. We're at 45 unders. Again, we're pretty much split right down the middle after 6 weeks. And the average points per game has dropped a little bit. We are at 46.2 is the average points per game on the season, slightly higher than last year's numbers, which were 45.8. But again, we're pretty much split right down the middle after a relatively low scoring week in the NFL last week. Now we're hoping maybe over the total bettors are hoping, that's for sure, that last night's results might signal a more overwhelming than underwhelming week here in week 7.
But we're not going to have two 40-year-old quarterbacks playing again with all that experience. Do you feel that the inexperience at quarterback? Now, I mean, the answer, I suppose, is obvious. If you have inexperienced quarterbacks, they're not going to be as productive. So is that part of the reason we're not having explosive games like we had last night? Or is that just an aberration?
No, you're right. We've talked about it for a couple of years on the Mark Lawrence podcast. the fact that there's only 32 teams in the NFL, but are there truly 32 NFL worthy starting quarterbacks? And the answer to that is no. Now, the second answer is injuries.
Yeah.
Big quarterback injuries, offensive line injuries, impactful offensive player injuries. That's brought the scoring down a little bit as well. Maybe it's a good sign this week that I believe there's 4 games that have over-under lines of 47 or higher, including that Dallas-Washington game. That's the highest over-under line of the season thus far. We're somewhere in the neighborhood of 54, 55 points. So that might be a sign or a trigger that we might get back to a high-scoring week this week.
The speaking, since you brought up that particular game, it looks like, and I don't have the names in front of me, I just got a flash that wide receivers on both sides was missing in this game. 2 sides.
Right.
And,
If you're going to bet the over, hold off until you get your Sunday final injury report to see if either CD Lamb plays for Dallas and Terry McLaurin plays for Washington. If they are both plugged in, then you may want to go over that really, really high bar. But don't jump to conclusions. Wait till you find out on Sunday afternoon who the inactives for that game will be.
That's right. And you might get some line move, because we did have a line move on the side. Washington opened 2. It's now 1.5 in a lot of spots. Dallas the favorite. So we switched favorites in many spots.
Well, you're right about that, and that's a significant move, Jim. That is.
Yeah, and I think it's mostly because McLaren and other players for Washington are going to miss the game. Dallas also has an injury, and I just don't have the names right now in front of me. But Dallas is not a team that you like to bet under. I mean, I've been the Dallas team total over all year long and doing quite well.
Right, you've gone 5-1 if you bet that thus far. They're 5-1 in their team totals. Yeah,
I'm going to really have to dig into these injuries and see what the hell's going on.
And not only that, but I Dallas overs at home are pretty much automatic bets. Particularly when hosting division opponents. These, let me see here. I've got there's only 2. Yeah, Dallas is weird because they put up these fantastic offensive numbers this year, yet they've done it because 4 out of their 6 games have been on the road. So that's kind of surprising. They usually struggle on the road. They've only played 2 home games, and let me see. There was a 40-37 win against the Giants, and a 40-40 tie against the Packers. Right. So
right
there you go.
The Dallas leads the league in 2 exceptional departments: most offense, most points, and that's scored and giving up. They're on both ends. They score more and give up more. So that's what makes them a great overbet.
Now, since you're already there, let me jump the gun a little bit, and that is one of our Tuco team totals in this week's newsletter, the Totals Tip Sheet newsletter. I can even, let me see if I can get that back page there. Where are we? Here we are.
Oh, there he is.
Tuco, Dallas Cowboys. Now it's 27 now, but that is one of the team totals that, in fact, we're playing on. So, hey, man, I'm in complete agreement with you. We just touched on the fact that they're 5-1 to the over in their team totals this season. You just mentioned the fact that they are number 1 on offense. They're number 3 in team scoring. They're averaging 29.7 points per game. And I just touched on the fact that the surprising thing is their great offensive numbers have been on the road this year and not necessarily at home. In the Dak Prescott area, when Dak Prescott is the starting quarterback for the Cowboys, they've now gone 21-6 over under. That's 21 overs, 6 unders in their home team totals.
Wow.
Over the last 4 seasons.
And from what I get, CD Lamb is going to play according to what I'm seeing.
That's big for them. And I also mentioned their numbers are even higher when they're hosting division opponents at home. At home versus fellow NFC East division opponents, the Cowboys are averaging 34.8 points per game at home. So it's a relatively decent number. I know the OU line is high. It's probably around 27. I bet it as soon as the line came out at 26.5, Dallas over their team total. There's still plenty of meat on the bone to play Dallas over 27 in their team total. Of the two, I'm much more confident in Dallas over their team total than Washington, given some of their injuries. So right off the bat, I'm in agreement with you, and so is my dog Tulco. Dallas over their team total.
Okay, great. Well, we had the over last night to start the season. Now start the week off. The Rams play at Jacksonville, and I don't think Puka is going to play for the Rams.
No, they just announced that 35 minutes ago. He's out. Now, Jim, that's the London game, too. Don't forget, it's not at Jacksonville.
Right.
It's Jacksonville hosting the game in London. And from what I hear, that also may be rainy up there as well.
Rain and wind, yes.
Okay, so that could be another weather-impacted game as well. But you just mentioned the fact that Puka is definitely out, and that's going to tie into one of the interesting props that we have going on a little bit later. But let me throw out a full game total that I like this week. It is one of our tip sheet plays, and it's a very interesting game. It's the Eagles and the Vikings. It's an indoor game, and in this game, we're going to go under the total. And where are we in terms of the line? We're right around a pretty much rock solid 44 is what I'm seeing. What are you seeing, Jim?
I'm seeing some 43 and a halves, but matter of fact, 44 is the highest number. 43 and a half over 21 over 20. So that's right there. It's 43 and a half to the over, and 44 is the number. So I'd say rock solid.
If you can, lock it in at 44. Big difference between 44 and 43 and a half. 44 is a common number in the NFL. There are many possible scoring outcomes in which a game can finish exactly on 44 points, like 24-20. That's a pretty common score right there. So if you can, lock it in at 44. This is one of only two games on the entire Week 7 schedule in which both teams are ranked in the top 8 on defense for the season. Philadelphia is allowing only 274.5 per game. Minnesota only 305-point game. The Vikings allow less than 20 points per game as well. You know why. They got that fantastic defensive coordinator on that Minnesota team. And here's the weird thing about the game is I don't think O'Connell, even at this late stage, has announced who's going to be at quarterback officially for the Vikings coming in off their bye. Are they going to bring back McCarthy? Are they going to stick with Wentz for another week? Who knows? That's probably playing with Philadelphia's head by not announcing who their starting quarterback is going to be in the game, you know?
I've the information I'm getting, it's Wentz.
Yeah, that's the scuttlebutt. Yeah,
yeah, and the thing is, if I don't know if everybody remembers this, Wentz used to play for Philadelphia.
Right. So you got a little revenge angle, but credit to O'Connell for kind of keeping his cards pretty close to his vest.
The question I have is, I really believe McCarthy has a future, a good future in the NFL. I just don't think he's ready. I mean, I saw every quarter that he played so far this year, he didn't look like a quarterback ready for the NFL, except in one quarter. And I don't think he's ready. I think Minnesota's better off with Wentz. I think it's addition by subtraction
in the short term. Absolutely right. I think that they're probably perhaps even lamenting the fact that they let Sam Darnold go, given this fantastic season for Seattle thus far. You know,
Sam Darnold is like a totally different person last year and this year. I mean, it's like, who is this guy?
Right. It's amazing his progress and the fact that, you know, he's been on a lot of different teams already, like 4 or 5 different teams signed on, and just couldn't find the right spot, the right situation until last year. So, but you know, Jim, I mentioned the bye week, and that comes into play big time. Again, we wrote a little blurb in this week's totals tip sheet about NFL bye weeks. There it is. Bye weeks before and after over-under situations. In our new era of the NFL, that's 2021 and later. That's what I call the new era, the current era, the era where the games went from 16 to 17, slightly different bye weeks, a bye before the year even started. But that's what I call the new era of the NFL. Teams coming in after their bye week have been fantastic underplays. You just
Mm.
saw it on Monday night. There were two teams coming in off their bye. Both games went under the total, or call it one under and one tie. Atlanta was off their bye against the Bills, and was it Chicago was off their bye against Washington? Again, that game may went under depending on your line. It may have tied. Regardless, the fact is, in this article, here are the numbers out of the database. NFL teams before their bye week have gone like 45 and 88 since 21. That's close to 67% across the board.
That's before their bye. That's before their bye.
No, after their
After their bye. Okay.
after their bye week. NFL teams after their bye week have gone 45 and 84. That's 65% under the total across the board, regardless of home, regardless of away, regardless of favorite, regardless of dog. But since you mentioned dogs, even better. NFL underdogs after their bye week. And is Minnesota still a dog in that game? Let me see.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, they are dogs. So there you go. They qualify in this situation that's now gone 12 and 42 over under. When the over under line is 38 or more points, the two dogs that are active in this 80% under situation this week are the Minnesota Vikings and the Houston Texans. +3 against Seattle on Monday night with a low over under line. But for our purposes in this game, Minnesota is active in that after bye situation, which triggers a play on the under. There you have it. I got another one. Non-division dome underdogs after their bye week have gone a perfect 0-7 to the under in the last 3 years. So just based on that alone, it's been a hot play. We bet under for teams coming in off their bye. We're getting hot and heavy into the bye season right now. And Eagles, Vikings under. The visiting Eagles were not running the ball very good this year. We're averaging only 3.5 yards per rush on the season. And what a turnaround for the Eagles, because last year at this time, Saquon Barkley was tearing things up.
Yeah,
and he has struggled this year. So here you go. Another one that I found out of the database that's gone 1 and 15 over under over a 6-year period. Road favorites who averaged 3.5 or less yards per rush while allowing 4.5 or more yards per rush. And that's the Eagles. They've been allowing 1 more yard rushing per game than they've been averaging. You saw what the Giants did to them last Thursday night. Again, in that situation, it's gone 1 and 15 over under the total. Hey, I know it's an indoor game. Some of the indoor games we like going over the total. Not in this one. Under 44, and that's the optimum number. Eagles and Vikings under. We got some fantastic situations, particularly that one where it says you load up and you go low when the team's coming in off their bye.
Excellent. Excellent stuff. Yes.
Beautiful. Like that, Jim.
Let me ask you a question about the New Orleans and Chicago. The weather is going to be bad, rain and wind, similar to Cleveland.
Yeah.
Now, New Orleans is an indoor team that is playing with a rookie quarterback, and who actually looks pretty good to me, actually.
Yeah.
But now they're going to play on the road in the rain and in the wind in Chicago. How does that work out in your database over time?
I don't have that. I don't have, like dome teams playing outdoors on the road. The one thing that I don't have in our database, that would correlate is there's nowhere in our database to put like what the weather conditions were in the game. So unfortunately, I don't have the answer to that one.
Okay.
I'll say this. This was close to being an over the total for us if the weather was ideal because hell,
Oh, yeah.
Bear home games this season already at 48.0 combined points per game, and New Orleans 2 road games have averaged 53.5 combined points per game. So, and not to mention the fact that the Bears, you may have touched on this at the top of the show, are the only team in the NFL that's gone over their team total in every game this season. The Bears,
Oh.
they've gone 5-0 to the over their expected team total this season. And weather be damned, I still might play that the Bears over their team total in this particular game. Again, I'm wishing, hoping I'll be following the weather forecast. I might not pull the trigger until we revisit Mother Nature on Sunday morning and find out how things are going.
That's right.
But if things are favorable, I'm definitely going to be playing the Bears over their team total, and I may play the full game over as well.
Well, the Bears are going to be used to playing in that kind of weather.
Yeah,
and they're playing on grass, which is, absolutely a different surface for the Saints. So, yeah, you can pretty much look at Chicago and say, well, they're not going to be out of their norm. It's the Saints that we don't know about. So but that line, interestingly enough, has gone from Chicago 6 to 4.5. But the total hasn't moved. 40. Oh, actually, it went 44.5 to 46.5.
It sounds like there is some sharp money coming out of the Saints in that game, and I'm definitely not going to argue with that. Let me see where we're at in regards to the team total. The Bears are still at 26 to 26.5. That's a little bit of a higher bar than they're used to. You're going to need 27 or more for them to go over their team total. But interesting that the line has come down. It does look like there's some perhaps whale money influencing that game, huh?
The only thing is about this, and this goes for Chicago and Cleveland, you're looking for 27 to 30 mile an hour wind gusts. And
in Cleveland, it could be up to 50 from what we're hearing, 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts.
And you were from there. You know that lake effect stuff that happens there.
Yeah, it's a little early in the year for that, but and it's not going to snow or anything like that. But there are some big-time wind gusts that kick in right off Lake Erie, just like you say.
It gets so bad you can't even kick an extra point or a field goal.
Right, right. Any sort of kick is an adventure, right, in that situation.
Right.
Hey, I got a third team total I may as well mention since we talked about potentially playing the Bears over, definitely playing the Cowboys over their team total. And this one is at least in a indoor game. And particularly if you can find a line of 23.5 or more. And let me see, we're currently at 23.5. So it's the high-flying Colts. They're on the road. They're playing the Chargers. Indoor game, SoFi Stadium. And I'm playing the Colts over their team total, particularly at 23.5. If it goes up to 24.5, I'm laying off because, again, 24 is a key number in the NFL. But right now, it's still sitting there waiting for us to scoop it up. Colts over their team. I mean, they're a wagon on offense. They, if you want to get into some of the advanced stats, they're first in EPA per play, first in success rate. They're first in EPA per rush. They rank well in some of the more traditional statistics as well. They're first in yards per play on the season, 6.3. They're first in points per game at 32.3. They've scored 29 or more points in 5 of their 6 games. And here's the weird part. The only game in which they did not score 29 or more was in this very same stadium a couple of weeks ago when they were playing the LA Rams. They lost 27-20, but don't forget, in that game, if you remember, that Colt wide receiver, Adonai Mitchell, pulled the blunder of all time as he took off and was heading for the end zone, and he dropped the ball as if he had just crossed the end zone line before he got to the end zone. So that and the ball went into the end zone, and it turned out the Rams got the ball. So in that game, the Colts really should have had 27 or more. That would have been a 400-yard offensive game for the Colts as well. So I'm almost including that in the fact that the Colts have scored like 27 or more in every game this season. And the offense is set for a very, very big day in a mouth-watering matchup, particularly for their focal point player, Jonathan Taylor. He leads the NFL in rushing attempts, rushing yards per game, rushing touchdowns. Underlying data is fantastic. And remember, when the Colts can run, they can do anything. They can then open up everything for the passing game indoors. So I love this game. I don't know if the Chargers will be able to get to 24 points, in which case we might play the full game over. But at least, at the very, very least, I think this is a great indoor team total. And why would you not want to jump on the Colts bandwagon in a favorable matchup against the Chargers defense that's all of a sudden reeling in their last 3 games? They're giving up 154 rushing yards per game. So when you can run on the Chargers, you can pretty much do anything. And I think that's definitely worthy of a wager this week is the Colts over their team total, particularly at 23.5.
Excellent. Excellent. The Chargers are suffering with the offensive line injuries.
Yes, they are.
But Herbert's been playing great, been putting up points, but he's getting knocked around quite a bit.
Who knows? This might be a great game for a Herbert breakout game because the Colts don't have the best pass defense. And not to mention, they've had some injuries in their
Yes.
defensive secondary as well. So who knows? It could be a back and forth shootout. It could be a big time Herbert game. Maybe what he did last week in the fourth quarter of that Dolphin game down here when he brought him to victory against our Dolphins, maybe he'll use that as a jump start, a kickstart for a fantastic performance this week.
If they can just protect him, he can do some things. He's 6'5". He's got great arm, very accurate, and he can run really well. They have a great coach, but that offensive line is missing a lot of people. They're just suffering with a lot of injuries. They need to start getting some players back.
They need some get some players back because they look great to start the season.
Yes.
And some of those injuries, I mean, they've lost 2 out of their last 3 games. They lost on the road against the Giants. They got shit canned at home against Washington, 27-10 a couple of weeks ago.
Yes.
And again, they only came from behind to beat the Dolphins last week, very, very late. Otherwise, they'd be 0-3 in their last 3 games.
SoFi Stadium doesn't give the Chargers much of a home field advantage.
The only thing, and you're right, you're absolutely right. Regardless of whether the Rams are playing a home game or the Chargers, there's no home field advantage whatsoever, particularly the Rams, because the Niner fans, they travel well. Seattle fans, they travel well. Arizona fans, they travel well. When the Rams are hosting a game, it's almost like they're playing on the road. And you can say the same for the Chargers as well. But the only thing is that's one thing. The Colts fans, they don't travel that much compared to some of the other fanatics across the league. But you're absolutely right. No home field advantage in SoFi whatsoever.
LA's a strange city. Definitely.
I believe it.
Strange. What other game really stands out? I mean, New England, you got Vrabel coming back to Tennessee, which got rid of him. Tennessee's probably the worst team in football. They have a new head coach. I don't expect them to have enough talent to get the new coach bounce that a lot of people expect. But it's going to be raining, by the way, and windy in Tennessee. It's going to be bad weather. New England, of course, is used
right.
to that.
I've got a lot of database that say that I would look at the over rather than the under in that game. But what's holding me back is what you just said. It does not look like a very favorable weather forecast in Nashville this week. I mean, Drake May is playing like nobody, like the top quarterback in the NFL. 5 great quarterback starts in a row for Drake May. 123.5 passer rating, 1,235 passing yards, 9-to-1 TD to interception ratio. This kid is legit. He's for real, and the Patriots might just win the AFC East division too.
Well, yeah, because I mean, when you look at what Buffalo did the other night, Buffalo did not look like a Super Bowl contender. They looked very soft and out of sync, and no, the Patriots and Drake May looks like the best of the young quarterbacks right now.
You know, Jim, the NFL, we're 6 weeks in, and it's a tough sport to get your hands on, get your fingers on. It really, there are no fantastic teams in the NFL in 2025.
That's
There
correct.
are no great teams in the NFL. I mean, the Eagles, they start 4-0, they lose 2 in a row. The Bills, they start 4-0, they lose 2 in a row. I refuse to believe that the Colts are the best team in the AFC with their 5-1 record, even though their record indicates it.
Well, the question is,
it's weird. There's no super team right now in pro football.
Excuse me. Who's trending up though? There is one team that I'm starting to see is trending up in the AFC, and of course, we're going to have to mention this word again that they've been there so many times. Kansas City.
Yep,
they're trending up. They get Rice back. And, they got the coaches and they got the quarterback and they get some wide receivers coming back. It's starting to become, it's like an old song. This team has won 9 straight divisions and 5 of the last 6 Super Bowls they've been in. The way it's looking right now in the AFC, they're going to be somewhere in the mix to get there.
I think a lot of teams in the AFC are kind of crapping their pants right now with how good the Chiefs are looking. And if they could get their offense clicking, they've been a deficiently offensive team for 2 years now. And if they can get up to 24, 25, 27 points per game with that great defense, you just said it. They could very well be the best team in the league.
It's very possible. The NFC is another issue. You got a couple of them playing on Monday night with Tampa and Detroit, because you can knock, everybody's going to have a bad game here or there. I saw Detroit last week showed me something that was against Kansas City that I didn't see when Johnson was the offensive coordinator. Goff does very well with the run pass option play. Okay. And with Johnson, they ran that a very high percentage of the time, and it really played into Goff's talents. This is a new offensive coordinator they have. They also have a new defensive coordinator.
Yep.
But the new offensive coordinator only called run pass option against Kansas City 29% of the time. That's about half the time that Johnson called it the year before. So that's not playing into Goff's talent. That's playing into the offensive coordinator's demands, which doesn't always work. You either, I'm not saying it's going to fall apart, but that is an issue. If you start trying to change things that work, why mess with something that's working? If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Right.
Tampa, on the other hand, I don't know what the hell they're eating and drinking down there, but Baker Mayfield's playing. He's unbelievable.
Every great Baker Mayfield game I see, I get more pissed off as a Cleveland Browns fan. That's for sure. They're the only other 5-1 team in the NFL, along with the Indianapolis
And they've
Colts.
not played one game healthy.
Right, and not to mention, they've had 4 come from behind, 2-minute fourth quarter wins as well. Their point differential on the season, they've only scored 14 more points than they've allowed, yet they're 5-1. So there's something still off there. It's not indicative of a 5-1 team. So we'll see. From what I hear, Mike Evans is back this week. Correct. But Godwin is still out. Egbuka is still out. Who's their stud running back who's still out? I forget. I forget the rookie from last year who was fantastic. Yes. So they're still not playing with a full deck, and they're 5-1.
No, and Detroit's a tough place to play. I mean, they're coming off the
Absolutely.
loss. They're pissed off. Uh, I'm not suggesting that you lay 5.5 or 6 points, and I'm not suggesting you bet against Tampa. I'm just saying it. It's amazing how, like you said though, and I think that's the key. There are no great teams. There's teams that play a great game now and then, but there's no great
Mhm.
teams, consistently great teams. Kansas City's starting to look like one, but they haven't proven it yet. Takes time to do that. I don't see it anywhere else. Anybody in the league that's playing uh, super great, or even tending to play super great, they're playing good, but they're inconsistent.
Yep. Yep. So Jim, let me shift to a couple smaller props that we like this week. Again, we don't play props for big dollar amounts, and you really shouldn't.
Well, you really can't. You really can't. The bookmakers won't take big
Good,
money.
good. There's limits, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I save my larger wagers for either team totals, first half totals, or full game totals. But with that said, there are some decent props out there, and we touched on this Cleveland Miami game, and then what could be potentially devastating weather up there on Lake Erie. And you've got to this week load up on your Quinshawn Judkins over the total props as far as Cleveland Browns running back goes. He opened at 85.5 rushing yards. That's the rookie running back from Ohio State. It's up to 91 as we speak. It's already gone up to 6 yards. I am not surprised. Uh, I think it would be very intelligent to load up on your Judkins over props. Now, he missed week one. He worked into the backfield in week two. He has generated 84% of the Cleveland running back carries from week three on. That's amazing. 8.5 out of every 10 Cleveland rushes are to Judkins. He's a
Wow.
workhorse now. He's taken on a Dolphins team that's allowed 24 rush attempts for 134 yards and 5.6 yards per carry this season to running backs. So the Dolphins have been torched by running backs. You know, the Chargers, even last week, were down to their third string running back, Kamani Vidal, and he still had a fantastic game against this Dolphin team that cannot, believe me, stop the run. As for Judkins, he's only finished with 86 or more yards twice. I understand that, but he keeps getting better and better every week. Guess what? It's finally a favorable game script situation for Cleveland. When I say game script, this is Cleveland's first game all season in which they're favored to win. So
Yeah.
when you're favored to win, you put the ball on the ground a lot more, not to mention the weather impact in this game. He could get 30 to 35 carries, Judkins. So, I mean, load up on your Judkins over the total props. Not only that, but you want to consider playing the ladder as well. So I'm not just playing over 91. I'm playing over 100 for a smaller amount. I'm playing over 110 for an even smaller amount. Play the ladder with your Judkins over props, and it should be a fantastic game for him against this Dolphin team that just cannot stop the run.
And the Dolphin team is in a mess. I mean, their whole structure from top to
You
bottom.
know, there's a rumor out there that the loser of this game, the losing coach, might get fired on Monday. I don't think that's the case with Stefanski. I still think he's a very good, intelligent mind. But I'll tell you what, from being down here in South Florida, that could very well be the case if the Dolphins get destroyed by the Browns this week. And I used the Browns in the wise guy pool this week, so I
Yeah.
think they beat up on Miami.
I think it would be a big mistake getting rid of Stefanski. It's not his fault
It's
that the
not.
owner paid that other idiot $250 million.
Right. So we're going to load
Dismissed.
up on Judkins and his over props. We may
Right.
even play the latter, meaning go up slightly higher, reduce your betting amount, et cetera, et cetera. But there is an under I'm betting this week, and it's a passing total under. and it is Bryce Young of the Carolina Panthers
Oh,
to go under his passing yard total. It opened at 198.5. It's down to 195.5. That's when I looked earlier this morning. Now, I understand that Young is coming up off of one of his better games of his career against the Cowboys last week and that terrible Dallas defense. He completed 68% of his passes, but still he didn't even crack 200 yards last week. 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. I'm taking his under this week on the road against the New York Jets. So far this season, Young has finished with 198 yards or less in all but 2 games, so 4 out of 6. The 2 games include the 199 against the Cowboys last week and 328 on the road against the Arizona Cardinals. Before that, when they were in a heavy behind the game situation. Remember, context, very, very important. In that game against the Cardinals, they were down by multiple scores. Obviously, when a team's down by multiple scores, they're going to pass the ball more. So almost all of that offensive production in the Arizona game came in garbage time. Let's be real. On the road this season, Young, 71 for 120, slightly less numbers, for 632 yards, averaging only 5.7 yards per attempt. He's had 150 yards or fewer in each of the other 2 road games if we take away the Cardinal game. And not only that, but the Jets all of a sudden, well, not all of a sudden, they've always had a good pass defense, and they got a good one this year as well. They're only allowing 207.5 passing yards per game. 3 quarterbacks against the Jets this season already have finished with 198 or less yards. Josh Allen, you heard of him? He's a good one. Tua Tagovailoa, less than 198 yards. Bo Nix as well, with the Jets play Denver, under 198 yards. And finally, the caveat, the cherry on top, is the fact that Carolina has really leaned into the run the last few weeks. You see what Rico Dowdle has done in those last 2 games.
amazing.
200 plus total yards in both games. His fellow running back, Chuba Hubbard, is back this week as well. You think they're going to lean into their running game against the Jets? Yeah. That means less passing yards for Bryce Young. So along with our Judkins over, we're going under the total. Bryce Young passing yards, taking on the Jets in another game that might be wind affected in the Meadowlands, right, Jim? You mentioned that Jets Panthers game, right? Yeah.
Wind and rain.
Okay.
Yes.
There you go. So let's play the weather in both of those games. Judkins over rushing, Bryce Young under passing.
Absolutely great stuff.
I got one more TD parlay since people love playing them. We don't do good at them. Okay. It's worthy of a play. Another tight end parlay that we are looking at, and it is, what do I got here? I'm going to start with the London game. The Rams, and I mentioned at the top of the show, or you mentioned the fact that Puka Nacua won't be playing this week for the Rams,
and they have wind and rain there too.
Right. So the Puka injury is kind of shifting the Rams' offense right now. There's a real doubt about his availability. They just announced it's official. He will not play.
He's out.
After he exited last week in week 6, Sean McVay leaned very, very heavily into the 1-2 offensive formation. 1-2 means 1 running back, 2 tight ends, 2 wide receivers. 1-2 always refers to running back is the first number, tight end is the second number. So they ran a lot of what they call 1-2 personnel or 12 personnel. Right. That's a clear boost for Tyler Higbee, who caught all 4 of his targets and found the end zone last week at plus 350. He's currently plus 325. Good odds there. Nice underdog. With only a slight adjustment to his odds, I think he's worthy of an early play with especially the Puka Nacua injury. So that's the first guy we're going to play to score this week in our tight end parlay is all of a sudden veteran Tyler Higbee. The second tight end we're going to play in this parlay is in that indoor game that we were talking about, Minnesota against Philadelphia. And it's Dallas Goedert. Why would you not play a Dallas Goedert touchdown? A guy who's got 5 touchdowns over his last 4 games. He's pretty much money in the bank. He's coming off a 9-catch, 110-yard, 1 touchdown performance in Week 6 against the Giants, that Thursday night game where Philadelphia lost to the Giants. He was targeted on over 40% of his routes. He is continuing to see a expanded red zone role as Jalen Hurts and the Eagles are getting more creative in close inside the 5-yard line. What used to be the automatic tush push situation, you're seeing a little bit more this year that the Eagles are deviating a little bit. They're throwing to the tight end. They're even giving the tight end rushes inside the 5-yard line. So it's a solid matchup. Remember, the Vikings in their last game before their bye played in London against the Browns. Guess what? They allowed both Browns tight ends to score a touchdown in that London game. David Njoku and rookie Harold Fannin both scored touchdowns against Minnesota in their last game. There's no threat to Goddard's playing time. Their second string tight end is injured, Grant Calcaterra. So, I mean, it's money in the bank. Dallas Goedert, plus 240 odds right now. If you play a Tyler Higbee touchdown and a Dallas Goedert touchdown together, you're already getting 13-1 odds.
Wow.
And I love it. Now, if you want to get really, really fancy, I might also include Harold Fannin of the Browns as well to score a touchdown. And in that case, you'd have a 3-touchdown parlay that pays over 40-1 odds.
Oh boy! Wow.
David Njoku is not 100% for Cleveland. Harold Fannin has picked up the slack big time. I don't know if I'm going to go that far and play a 3 tight end touchdown parlay, but if you're thinking about it, if you're thinking about one of those big time money deals where you can clean up on one bet, then I would consider definitely Tyler Higbee to score a touchdown, Dallas Goedert, and Harold Fannin of the Browns.
Well, I'll tell you what, you hit one of those 40-1s, that'll make the whole year.
That'll make the whole season. You hit one of those, right?
That's right.
Yep.
Excellent.
Jim, that's about all I got as far as totals, props, team totals, Tuco, even our boy, our little baby Brutus is doing well as well, our newest canine.
And what did Brutus pick this week?
Brutus is leaning under in that Carolina New York Jets game.
With the rain
in the Meadowlands, bad weather, 2 bad offenses.
Oh, yeah.
Justin Fields is probably not an NFL legit starting quarterback.
Oh my
Let's
God,
get
no.
real, please.
I mean, Fields.
They had negative passing yards last week. You know that.
Yeah, he had more sacks against him than he had yards. Almost.
He had more sacks than passing yards. That's amazing.
Unbelievable. Victor, thank you very much again. Quality stuff, well prepared. Love it, and I know the fans love it as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jim. Best of luck to you this weekend. Take care. Health number 1, my friend.
You too. Lots of winners. Good health.
Bye-bye.